Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Starr, CEO of DeFi Technologies. Russ, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me. Really excited to chat with you.
All right, let's talk about the DeFi space. In your opinion, what are some of the most exciting opportunities in decentralized finance, otherwise as we call DeFi?
Yeah, look, the world needs to understand this is a sector growing 2 times faster than the internet grew. So when you ask, what's exciting, everything's exciting. I mean, this is exploding in our faces, and most of the world hasn't had a chance to really participate in it because it's been on all these alternative exchanges. So you're looking at, the Metaverse, you're looking at NFTs, you're looking at DeFi protocols, and what we're doing, which is something different than almost anybody out there, is we're actually wrapping them in equity wrappers and bringing them to traditional listed exchanges so that people can buy them just the way they would in their Charles Schwab account.
Let's go back to NFTs for a moment. How will NFTs factor into the DeFi space? And one more question for you. Do you think the NFT market could be at a bubble, or interest could be waning? Have the assets really surpassed their capability at this stage?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I like, this is a case of the high tide floating all boats right now. And really, when I look at NFTs, they're just a subset of the metaverse. And so when you're talking NFTs, you're talking metaverse, and truly everything will be in the metaverse. So yeah, maybe it feels a little bit like a bubble, but so did, Yahoo or Amazon in 1995 trading at $10. But if I had a chance to go back and buy, Amazon in 1995 or 2000, and put 10, 20 grand in it, I'd be retired 100 times over. So yeah, maybe feels a bit frothy, but I don't think we're anywhere close to seeing the top.
And when we think about the role NFTs are going to play in the metaverse, it seems as if they could almost be an essential part of it based on the fact that they are trending, right? And it's also kind of a great way to tag value inside of a virtual world.
Oh yeah, I mean, literally, I was sitting with a friend of mine who's a doctor who was literally talking about the omniverse, which is really the metaverse. It's just that now you've got Facebook taking the word meta, so you got to be a little bit careful about it. But human beings literally being in the metaverse and being treated like having your heart in 3D. And like, people haven't even thought through the capacity for this to actually impact every aspect of your life, not just art, not just music. We're talking about houses, shoes, cars, everything. So I'm looking at this as literally the single most dominant trade that we're probably going to see in the next 2-3 decades.
It's so funny when you brought up how a doctor could potentially use the omniverse or metaverse. I remember when iPads first came out, my first inclination was, oh my God, we can get x-rays and sonograms, and it could change what happens in the medical space. So it's really interesting to hear metaverse being correlated with that. So when we think about doctors applying this kind of technology, what does greater amount of institutional participation, whether it's in finance or otherwise, mean for the crypto space?
Yeah, so back to my point, you've basically got a sector growing 2 times faster than the internet, with a fraction of the world that can participate in it, because the vast majority of the growth has occurred on these alternative trading exchanges. And I don't know what your experience has been like trying to open a Coinbase, a Newton, a Frax, whatever account, but it actually can be daunting for someone who spent his entire career in the capital markets. Like, it's a little bit complicated. So when you do what we're doing, DeFi, and you're putting equity wrappers around these protocols that traditionally have only been listed on these alternative exchanges, you're allowing institutions now to get exposure to them holistically. So, I can't speak for any one particular institution, but most of them have offering memorandums or sub-agreements that you have to fill out to participate in whatever they're doing. And that restricts them from doing certain things on certain exchanges. You can typically only do it on regulated listed exchanges. And so I see the entire world gravitating towards what we're doing, which is why I'm so excited about DeFi, having these listed protocols. So for example, we're launching a metaverse and gaming basket. Is our AUM going to grow with that? Absolutely. When we launch top 10 DeFi yield, top 10 DeFi products, absolutely. Sorry, it looks like you got a question there.
Yeah, I do have a question, because when you talk about almost listing as an equity or within a wrapper, is it almost these types of assets, almost like an ETF? That
yes,
sort of experience?
Exactly. Yep, exactly. So, I mean, an exchange traded product is just a fancier name for an ETF. And in Europe, you have exchange traded products, exchange traded notes. We tend to focus on Europe, but effectively the positioning is exactly the same. How do I and my grandfather, who's terrified of trading on anything other than his, TD Bank, Ameritrade, whatever his account is, how does he get exposure to Solana, one of the hottest protocols in the world, what may subvert Ethereum? Well, he's never going to do it on his Frax or his Newton or his Kraken. He's going to do it on a listed regulated exchange. And that's what we're doing. We're bringing those protocols to you, me, and everybody else on listed traditional exchanges, which I will add is exactly what the SEC wants to see. More regulation, more of this becoming what people can view as being regulated and properly disseminated, proper KYC, all that kind of stuff. That's exactly what we're doing.
And it's so interesting, Russ, because when you think about trends, when this conversation really started in 2017, 2018 to where we are now, it's no longer DeFi versus legacy. It's more, okay, how can we work together using scale and then using the speed at which DeFi can bring these to market? Yep,
exactly. It's look, I will go down with the ship of saying this one. It's going to be the single biggest trading opportunity anybody has seen in the last decade, 2 decades. And again, like for anyone who's a naysayer, like I think that whole concept of crypto or DeFi not being here to stay is gone. I think everybody recognizes it's here to stay. Now it's how do we get exposure to it? How do institutions get exposure to it? And I really think you're going to see it through that ETF, traditional regulated exchange way of doing it. You'll still have the alternative exchanges, but the Metaverse, for example, can you imagine being able to buy a Metaverse and gaming ETP? Like I have a feeling everybody, once we get that launched, is probably going to be dipping their toe into it because of how exciting the Metaverse and gaming world is right now, let alone what's going on in the broader DeFi space.
All right, Russ, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks for having me.